Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and ensure you never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links are waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. The Washington Commanders travel to New Orleans, sitting 7th in the NFC standings. Fresh off a bye week and a confidence-boosting victory that snapped a 3-game losing streak, the Commanders are aiming to keep their postseason hopes alive. Their offense, which matched its season high with 42 points in a win over the Titans, ranks 4th in the NFL with 28.9 points and 377.6 total yards per game. They also boast the league's 3rd-best rushing attack, averaging 156.9 yards per game. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints face long playoff odds as they sit 12th in the NFC. Despite their struggles, they've shown resilience, going 3-1 straight up in their last 4 games. However, offensive woes continue to plague them, with the team managing just 14 points in each of their last 2 games. In their recent win over the Giants, the Saints accumulated only 292 total yards, including a mere 92 rushing yards, while converting just 5 of 15 third-down attempts. Defensively, Washington has been stout against the pass, allowing just 190.7 yards per game through the air, the 5th best mark in the league. However, turnovers remain an issue, with only 4 interceptions all season, the 3rd fewest in the NFL. Despite this, their defense kept Tennessee to just 245 total yards and 35 rushing yards last game, while forcing 2 turnovers and recording 2 sacks. Bobby Wagner leads the team with 104 tackles on the season. Defensively, the Saints unit has been inconsistent, ranking 29th in total yards allowed per game, 380.5, and 15th in points allowed, 22.5. However, they shined against the Giants, holding them to 16 first downs and just 5 of 19 third-down conversions while recording 13 tackles for loss, including 2 sacks. Demario Davis leads the team with 90 tackles this season. When these 2 teams last met in 2021, the Saints emerged victorious, 33-22. However, heading into this matchup, Washington appears to be in better form, particularly with a well-rested and dynamic offense led by Daniels. New Orleans' banged-up roster and reliance on an untested quarterback could spell trouble against a Washington team that has been strong against spread this season. Take the Commanders at -7.5 points. As for the total, the Saints' offensive struggles make it hard to envision a high-scoring affair. New Orleans has scored 14 or fewer points 6 times this season, and with Carr sidelined and Alvin Kamara's availability in doubt, their scoring potential is limited. The Commanders, while capable of offensive outbursts, have typically scored 27 points or fewer in recent weeks. Expect a lower scoring game. Take the under at 44 points. The Miami Dolphins entered the season with high expectations, but injuries and inconsistent performances have disrupted their campaign. Despite these setbacks, they're beginning to find their stride as players return to full strength. Currently sitting at 6-7, Miami has won 4 of its last 5 games, including victories over the Rams, 23-15, Raiders, 34-19, Patriots, 34-15, and Jets, 32-26. Their lone loss in this stretch came against Green Bay, 30-17, on Thanksgiving. With a 9th place standing in the AFC, Miami is chasing the 7th-seeded Denver Broncos, who are 8-5. Betting markets reflect their uphill battle, with the Dolphins priced at +400 to make the playoffs and -550 to miss. Conceded 318.4 per game. Miami's full injury report shows some concerns, with T. Terran Armstead, knee, W.R.D. Eskridge, knee, and T. Kendall Lamb, back, missing Thursday's practice. On the other side, the Houston Texans entered the season with heightened expectations after a strong playoff run last year. Under head coach DeMeco Ryans, Houston has quietly put together an 8-5 record, securing first place in the AFC South. They are overwhelming favorites to make the postseason, -10,000, and to clinch the division. Holding a 2-game lead over the Colts, the Texans have already swept their divisional rival, further solidifying their position. However, recent form has been inconsistent, with a 2-3 record over their last 5 games. Houston is coming off a 23-20 road win over Jacksonville and benefited from a bye week to prepare for this matchup. Defensively, Houston has been one of the league's strongest units, ranking 5th in total yards allowed, 308.5 per game, and conceding 22.2 points per game, 12th. They've also been efficient against the pass, leading the NFL in opponent completion percentage, 56.3%, and ranking 7th in passing yards allowed, 198.8 per game. The Texans' injury concerns are minimal, with S. Jalen Petra shoulder and OL Juice Scruggs foot as the only players missing Thursday's practice. This game pits Miami's high-powered passing attack against Houston's dominant defense. The Dolphins' offensive line will need to protect Tagovailoa against Houston's disruptive front, as Miami's 24th ranked pressure rate, 20.9%, could leave them vulnerable. On the other side, the Texans' offense faces a Dolphins defense that ranks 6th in red zone defense, 48.7%, and has been solid during Miami's recent 4-1 stretch, allowing just 21.0 points per game. Houston's home field advantage, combined with a bye week for preparation, gives them a slight edge. The Texans' ability to limit explosive plays and capitalize on Miami's defensive vulnerabilities should tilt the game in their favor. Prediction: Houston Texans -3 points. While both offenses are capable of moving the ball, this matchup has the makings of a lower-scoring affair. Miami's defense has held its own recently, while Houston's secondary matches up well against Tagovailoa and company. The Texans are first in opponent completion percentage and 5th in yards allowed per pass attempt, 6.7, making it difficult for Miami to sustain drives. Meanwhile, Houston's offense is unlikely to light up the scoreboard against a disciplined Dolphins defense. Expect a competitive game with both teams reaching the 20-point mark, but not much more. A final score in the range of 24-20 in favor of Houston seems likely. Prediction: under 47 points. Garrett Wilson's frustration boiled over after the Jets' overtime loss to the Dolphins, as he questioned whether the team might be grappling with an inherent losing gene. Aaron Rodgers, the presumed savior of the franchise, echoed Wilson's sentiment, hinting at an intangible curse akin to those that haunted the Red Sox and Cubs for decades. For Jets fans, this hits a nerve. They've endured the NFL's longest active playoff drought, 14 years, and seen numerous rebuilds fail to deliver sustained success. The arrival of Rodgers and the mid-season acquisition of Davante Adams fueled hopes of a turnaround, but at 3-10, those dreams have dimmed. Now, with the Jets trudging toward another lost season, questions linger about the franchise's future, including its relationship with Rodgers, a potential head coaching change, and even a search for yet another quarterback. Rodgers himself has acknowledged the team's struggles go deeper than on-field execution. In a candid interview with NFL.com, he pointed to their failure in situational football, lamenting missed opportunities in critical moments. "We haven't been great on offense, defense, or special teams when it matters most," he said, emphasizing that while culture begins with management and coaching, it's up to players to bring it to life. Rodgers remains optimistic about finding what he calls the special sauce of accountability, execution, and resilience, though his own future with the team remains uncertain. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 3-10, find themselves in familiar territory, another season out of playoff contention, marking their 11th losing campaign in the last 14 years. Yet, there are bright spots. Defensive end Josh Hines-Allen is on the cusp of history, just 3.5 sacks away from breaking Tony Bracken's franchise record of 55. Coming off a stellar 2023 season with 17.5 sacks, Hines-Allen has solidified his legacy, recently signing a 5-year, $141.25 million contract. Despite his personal success, Hines-Allen remains focused on the team, expressing his frustration with losing. "Breaking records is great, but winning is what it's all about," he told ESPN. The Jets' offensive struggles have been well documented. Despite high-profile acquisitions, their offensive line has been a weak link, failing to protect Rodgers and create consistent running lanes. The Jets rank near the bottom in scoring and yards per play, compounding their inability to close out games. Even in the red zone, they've been inefficient, scoring touchdowns on less than 50% of their opportunities. Against a Jaguars defense that thrives on creating turnovers and ranks in the top 10 in takeaways, the Jets' struggles could deepen. Predictions: spread, Jaguars plus 3.5 points. The Jets' offensive inefficiency makes it difficult to trust them to pull away from any opponent. Jacksonville's defense and ability to capitalize on mistakes should keep this game within a field goal margin. Total: under 40.5 points. Both teams have struggled in situational football, leading to stalled drives and low-scoring games. The Jets' defensive strength and offensive woes, combined with Jacksonville's focus on defense, point to another game hitting the under. Jets fans may continue to hope for a cultural reset, but as this season winds down, the the organization faces a pivotal offseason to redefine its identity. Meanwhile, Jacksonville has building blocks for the future in Hines Allen and Thomas, but their journey back to contention remains a long one.